Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on Terranaut TV. This is the first episode of this series called Terranaut TV, and this is like the third idea we've started and not continued, so hopefully this will be the one that sticks. We're Terranaut Recordings. We're a music production duo based in Brooklyn, New York, and basically we help take your song from demo status to stream ready, whether it's recording instruments or mixing and mastering, or even album art if you want. So if you need help with your project, send us a message or leave a comment. All the links are in the description. Our goal for this series is to talk about things that we've experienced in our music careers to help you along with yours. Hopefully, if we can share our mistakes and the things that we've picked up along the way, it'll help you continue your journey with a little spring in your step. So that way you're one step ahead of where we were when we were younger, I guess. Or even now, because we're all still learning. So today's topic is starting a project even if you feel like you're not ready for the project. And that could mean multiple things, so we're just going to go ahead and dive in.
So starting a project when you feel like maybe you don't have all the necessary tools
That's a
to
big
get
one.
started.
Yeah.
Especially now, since like music making is it's such a viable thing now.
Well, also, like, I don't know, if you open like TikTok or YouTube or any of the social media apps, or even if you Google like, music production, you see all these like crazy studios, but also it's like they're presenting themselves as like the best version of themselves.
Exactly. Well, yeah.
And
yeah, right.
like myself included, but I think it's easy to be like, oh man, I need to get this 32 channel Neve preamp.
I need to get
X this like huge Neve console.
Right.
Even though, I mean, I do this with this bedroom. Like, because this is like a small bedroom studio. You can't see it from where you are, but like I can barely reach across the room and touch the wall. And for some reason, I want to get like 16 mic preamps. I can't fit 16 mics in this room, you know? So it happens to me as well. But the origins of this production duo, the origins of what we've started and we've like started to do, I think started from not having enough gear.
Oh, totally, yeah.
You know,
we kind of like worked within what
but
we had.
we had something. And I mean, I'm sure you felt the same way about picking up the instrument. Like when you picked up your bass, I bet it wasn't like a great bass either, right?
Oh no. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone really starts off with it, but that's the charm of it. It's like you learn to play on these instruments that are not necessarily that great, but if you make those sound good.
Yeah, I think there's two layers to that. Like there's the aspect of like one, if it's really hard to play and you could actually make it sound good, then you'll be really good at your instrument. Or it's also the aspect of it being like you just started this thing, so you don't know what is good. Because like I've seen this with a lot of students of mine that they're like, "What's the best guitar?" And then my answer is like, "There's no answer.
Right.
There's no best guitar."
It's so subjective.
Yeah, and you look at someone like Jack White. You know, Jack White made his career off of playing terrible guitars. You know, but making them sound really good and being really deliberate about everything he's gonna play.
Right, and that's the charm in it. I don't know. I love my first bass though, but you sold it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you sold that bass to me, and then I sold it back. Oh man,
It's okay though. It was a cheap wash.
I'm a bad dude. No, I mean actually. So I had my first guitar ever. My dad still has it. He gave it to a family member without asking me, and I was really pissed. And then he got it back.
Oh, he got it back.
Yeah, he asked for it back. Last time I went there, it was back. But
that's nice,
yeah, my second guitar. So that was like an Esteban acoustic guitar. But my second guitar was this like Epiphone electric guitar. I sold that like a few months after getting it to buy a Strat. I like sold that. I sold my Xbox. I mean, I was like 13, so I had my Xbox and all this stuff. But yeah, I feel like it's really important to just kind of take the leap into things. And I feel like that's a lesson that gets harder to learn as you get older.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing of like, as you get older, it's like the more like established you get and the more you learn about things, it's like the harder it is to have a beginner's mindset.
Totally, yeah, and it's harder to not feel pressure to be good at things.
Right, yeah.
Right away,
but we need
as you get older.
Yeah, but we need room to fail in order to learn from our failures. So I think that's like the main message that we're trying to deliver to in this episode is like to like no matter what it is, just go for it, no matter if you have the gear or not. So I mean, we started this production company with just enough equipment. I think I had like an SM57 and like maybe one or two other mics.
Yeah, maybe the two like Sterling mics.
Yeah, the two mics I got for $40. And actually, I mean, on that topic of these mics, like this mic I got on eBay for $40. This is an Electro Voice 635A. This one I got on Shop Goodwill for $30. This is an MXL 990. And I mean, I have better microphones, but part of the symbolic thing of this is like, you don't need fancy equipment to get started. Like I spent $60 on these two microphones total, and I think the audio sounds pretty good, you know? And by the way, if you want to buy any of these at a great price, check out reverb.com. There's an affiliate link down in the description if you want to check out any of this stuff we're talking about. I always buy used because to save money, and also because I like to sell things and trade things. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, Lewis Cole talks about that a lot too. Like when he
Yeah.
was first starting, he just had like a Logitech laptop microphone.
Yeah, well, we watched that class together, right? Or the clinic together, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, if you're unfamiliar, Lewis Cole is a great drummer for the band Knower. They play really insane music, and they're very DIY. But Lewis Cole said his favorite microphone is a $20 Logitech mic, like one of those, and it's like the ones that like shoot out like that. He just like found a way to use it really well. He got it for $20 when he was a kid, and just like found the best place to put it for his drums, and that's like his favorite drum sound. But he's like a testament of like how performance over gear. Yeah,
exactly.
Like right now we have the window open for like, even though we're recording, and that's like a huge no-no in like the recorded music community. But I think there's something to be said about prioritizing performance over production, or like capturing the best performance over capturing pristine sounds. Because capturing a great performance will sound good no matter the quality of recording. But if you get a really good recording of really bad performance, I think the message is still lost.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like all those train bootlegs too.
Yeah, the John Coltrane bootlegs, or the
second grade quintet bootlegs,
or all of the Charlie Parker recordings.
Yeah,
they sound like trash, and they're in limitations because they couldn't record that much.
That's why, that's why they're all capped at like 2 minutes.
They're all like 2 minutes long, and like they're playing these insane solos really quickly and for just 2 minutes. But they leaned into it, and like that's what's being studied by every single jazz musician since.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like finding the creativity within the limitations.
Yeah, I think.
And making it too. Making it for yourself. Like making that work for you.
Yeah, and not only having the impetus to make something, but going for that impetus no matter what. Because I don't know about you, but for me sometimes I get a little in my head, like I get a really cool idea, but then I start thinking about all the things that I don't have to execute that idea.
Right. Yeah.
But I think like the real question, and this is like how I think I've come up with like some of, like, in my opinion, the greatest work that I've done. Like not in reference to everyone else, but in reference to what I've done so far.
Personal best.
Yeah, my personal best has come from, instead of asking or thinking about, oh, I don't have this, it's more like, how can I do this.
Right, yeah.
I actually heard, and to relate that back to something completely different, Vincent Chen, who's like a finance YouTuber, talks about that money-wise, actually, which surprisingly I think translates here. So he says, instead of saying, I can't afford that, say, how can I afford that? And like think about ways to kind of work within your limitations, which is something that we both do in our music. You know, I think if it was up to us, we'd sit in a room with a bunch of analog synths and all this like analog equipment, but we don't. And but we still make music, and we're still pushing through this thing.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like if I had a crazy amount of gear too, I probably wouldn't use all of it regularly.
Yeah, totally.
Like I would just stick with like my 4-string bass from the 80s.
Have you ever got a plugin bundle?
Yeah.
Do you use all the plugins in that bundle?
Not regularly.
No, yeah. So, I mean, the plugin bundles are something that I've spent money on, and it's a way to save money, but it's also like overwhelming overstimulation immediately.
Right, yeah. And then it's just like, how am I going to incorporate this? Like, first of all, I'm not hearing it on anything because I don't know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do I put this?
Yeah.
And it's just like this cycle of like, okay, I'm never going to use this.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's like,
yeah, and it takes time to learn how to use gear. I don't know, I feel like as a kid, I heard Mark Turner talk about this to relate it to something not as relevant, but he talks about how he'll teach lessons to like young students, and they'll be looking for like that answer or like the shortcut or like the oh, this one thing I'm going to learn, and then everything is going to make sense.
Right.
But then that doesn't exist.
It's like one thing that unlocks everything.
Yeah, but then it's like tragic because that thing doesn't exist. And it's about spending time with what you have.
Right, and getting to know it. And
like
how it like really works.
And another thing like that's happening right now is like we're not using pop filters for either of these mics, but
we both have pop filters.
But we're not using them right now. I mean, that's out of laziness, so that's on us. But to get over that, instead of talking into the mic, we're talking above the mic, so that way the sibilance goes this way and this doesn't capture any of it, or the plosives. And if you're unfamiliar with this terminology, sibilance is like, and plosive is like, and that sounds pretty bad. But it's a way that we learn, or at least that I learned this technology, and I'm working around it. So if I didn't have a pop filter, I'd still be able to make some sounds. I'd still be able to record vocals and stuff like that.
Some people use socks too, I've heard.
I've never heard that, but that's funny.
Yeah, they'll put like socks over their mics.
That makes sense, but that's a funny thought. The studio I was interning at, he told me that the Beatles wouldn't use a pop filter; they would just go. Sst. So they would they like cut the mic like this. So whenever they were gonna say an S, so it was like "She loves you." Yeah, I don't even know if I did that right, but they like practiced that. Did I do that right? The waveform looks not too bad. So
Yeah.
I think I may have done it. But anyway, so this is our call to you to like start whatever project you're thinking about starting, even if you don't have all the gear that you have. Like start the song, start learning production, start all this stuff.
Start with Apple Loops.
Start with Apple Loops. You know, who cares?
I saw this banging ass concert where I was shocked to find out that the artist, the way she makes her music, is only Apple Loops through the GarageBand app on her phone.
Wow.
Yeah. And
What-
she
what-
writes full ass songs.
What concert was this?
This was at Wonderville. Her name is Olive Westwood.
Everyone,
and
everyone
it's-
go check her out.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Nate told me that, and I was like, holy shit, like that's crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah, I remember when I first started in GarageBand. I think I was like 13, and I was on my family's computer, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah,
And I
same.
would just like click and drag stuff together,
Yeah.
and like came up with like a beat or something,
You know, you just it just kind of comes upon you, you know. And I feel like I've talked about this to a lot of students. If I show you a C chord, it's not as exciting as if you find a C chord.
Totally, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
because if you just show them, they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like this is
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and-
I get it, teach, but
yeah, and that's an issue with internet culture, is because everything's available to us,
right, yeah,
and not to sound like a boomer, like that's a great problem to have, but I think this is just something that we need to remind ourselves is like, even though we can look it up, try to figure it out yourself. Like, I mean, when I learn songs, I don't pull up the tab, I learn it by ear, because and not to say learning by tab is wrong or bad in any means, but it's just like, if I'm discovering it, I appreciate it more, and I internalize it a little better, and I get a
remember
little
better.
more to the source, you know?
right, yeah. You always remember it better if you're learning it by ear.
I think so. Yeah, I think in general, just like doing the thing and like discovering, you know.
That was part of it.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of working within limitations, even if the limitation is like not having the gear, you know. So I mean, yeah, if you have like one like, what is it? I think Shure PG-47. It's like a $40 microphone or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the baby version of the 58, which is like the basic mic.
Uh-huh.
It still captures sound. All
Right.
these things are just like different ears. You
Yeah.
know? And they're not better or worse. They're just different.
Right.
You know? And I could talk to you for hours about how this is different than my other large iPhone condenser, but it's different at the end of the day.
Right.
That's all it is.
And it's a low risk, high reward investment if you think about it monetarily.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, I mean, if you get a $30 mic, I mean, I guess you would have to already have the instruments already. I'm not gonna sit here and do math. I think that's boring. But anyway, so our message to you is go out there and create and start something.
do it.
All right, so this is a cheeky little section we thought we'd call "What's in Our Mug," where we talk about what we're drinking right now. Because Sean and I like nice warm beverages, and sometimes not warm. Sean, why don't you describe what you're drinking?
No, I'm just kidding. It's an organic. You could like put the what is it, the 12K sensor.
Oh,
over
the
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's Harney and Sons organic lemon ginger tea. I drink it at night because it doesn't have any caffeine.
I'm basic, and it is currently 10 p.m., so I didn't want anything with caffeine, and I don't have any cool stuff without caffeine, so this is Twinings Earl Grey Black Tea, decaf.
So if you need any T-Rex.
If you ever need any tea or coffee recommendations, leave a comment, and we'll hook you up with some cool stuff. So in this section, we want to have a Q&A section. However, we just started the series, so we don't have any questions. Leave all your questions down below, and we'll hopefully answer them in a later video.
We'll answer all of them.
We want to answer all of your questions, whether we like it or not. So that's the end of this podcast. Check out, we have a playlist right over here. There's a subscribe button somewhere over here on the screen. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Click the subscribe button, dislike it, whatever you want to do. We're Terranaut Recordings. We're Terranaut Recordings.
We'll make chords for you.
Or we're like an accordion phone. We're like an accordion.
Make air